What is going on, everybody? It's the France, and we're here with our WrestleMania Night 1 review for April the 2nd, 2022. The show that is one half of the most stupendous WrestleMania in history. This was a good show. I'm not going to sit there and say it was a great show. You had Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, which was not the main event. Drew Mcintyre versus Happy Corbin, which I don't know why that SmackDown match was on WrestleMania. And we had ourselves an injury in the opening match, unfortunately. So, it was a good show. I cannot sit there and say this was a terrible show. The obvious answer to who was going to be Seth Rollins' opponent was Cody Rhodes. That was answer tonight, which I was so hoping they would have been a troll job and it would have been Shane McMahon just to come on here and laugh at everybody thinking that it was going to be Cody Rhodes, and it turned out not to be Cody. But that was not to be the case, as it was, in fact, Cody Rhodes. Overall, and we did have a match cut with New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland. That match was promoted on the fucking pre-show. They had the New Day talk about it, and the match got cut. Because they gave us almost 20 minutes of a schnorfest in Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte 9000. We'll talk about that later. No matches on the pre-show. Why would they need to have matches on the pre-show? We had to have talking heads talk about these matches and talk about the same match for like 10, 20, 30 minutes. I swear. They stayed on, what was it? I think Seth Rollins. No, I'm sorry, not Seth Rollins. They stayed on like Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin's match for like 20 minutes, it felt like. They were just like all over the place with this fucking thing. So, overall, I would say that tonight was if we want to say it, and I'll say it again later, this night was a B-. Charlotte and Ronda Rousey killed it, like brought this show down. And the injury to Rick Boogs, you got to take a half a point off of that just because you never want to see an injury like that. He is absolutely injured. He tore his hamstring, I think it was, or something. He's lucky it wasn't a torn ACL, because that move, which we'll talk about here in a second, was absolutely scary as shit. Match of the night goes to Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. Of course it does, and yes, Cody is, at this time, Cody Rhodes coming from AEW with Kingdom, with the gear, with the logo, with everything, with the American Nightmare symbols and everything. He is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And if I'm WWE, he's the first thing we see on Monday Night Raw. His words is going to be something that everybody's going to want to see. Now, we get to the show here. Tag Team Championship for SmackDown. Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura versus the Usos. I like the color scheme of Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura. They had a partnership with Mike Hard's Lemonade or something like that. That gave them they got this orange, half yellow gear that looks fucking amazing, by the way. Boogs is out for the guitar, and I don't care what the event is. You play NXT, like Shinsuke Nakamura's theme that he has had, minus his heel run, from NXT, and the crowd sings along with it, it just gives me fucking goosebumps every single time. And I'm afraid when they're going to finally take that away from Shinsuke Nakamura, because if you think about it, Charlotte 9000, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Shinsuke Nakamura are the only ones that I can think of from NXT that still have the actual themes from NXT. Becky's, I think, is a remix of hers. I don't think that was her actual theme. If it is, then it's Becky too. Bayley, of course, changed her thing, so she doesn't have her theme anymore. Sasha Banks uses a remix that her cousin did. But like everyone else has had their theme songs changed. Shinsuke Nakamura, outside of his heel run where they had some Japanese artists do a rap in his theme, has had this theme since he made his NXT debut. I just hope they don't get rid of it because it's part of his presentation. And having Rick Boogs, who is over everywhere they go, he says, "My name is Rick," and the crowd just goes, "Boogs," every time. This dude is fucking over. So McAfee, who's on commentary tonight, he will be in a match tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be the opener tomorrow or when it's going to be, if he's going to be on commentary. Afterwards, I just have this sneaking suspicion that we might not see Pat McAfee on television anymore. Like, they're just like giving him a year run with the company, and then he's going to be given his walking papers from the WWE after WrestleMania. And it's just, I have this like itch in the back of my head thinking they're gonna, like, this could be the last time we see like Pat McAfee on commentary this weekend. Just, I don't know what it is, but it just feels like it's just something in me feels like this is like, we're going to have McAfee in Austin Theater tomorrow, and then after that, he's gone. I don't know. But Boogs comes down, McAfee's doing his thing. He actually jumped off the announce table and goes wild as Boogs and Nakamura shred their way down to the ramp. The LED boards are lit up on the ringside barrier. They actually took the side that we see from the hard cam, and the loop part of the barricade, they put an LED board on both of them. And I'm thinking, why in the hell would you do that? I don't know. When, so, and the logos match the ring gear, Boogs and Nakamura. They stop and pose with the man dressed as the Harder Farmer. And Cole says something about how Nakamura and Boogs had a special drink mixed up for them. They hit the ring, Nakamura poses, pyro goes off, all that good stuff. Here come the Usos. Pose with the titles, and we have the formal ring introductions by Samantha Irvine, who was looking fine as hell in her dress tonight. Ricochet is a lucky man, just telling you that right now. Nakamura unloads, immediately gets a kick right to Jimmy's face as the bell rings. Goes for the good, he gets the good vibrations, he positions Jimmy in the corner, hits a running knee for a quick 1 count. Jay tags in with the double team, Nakamura and Jay flies off the top rope while Jimmy holds him. Jay with a body slam, Jay points up to the air in the middle of the ring, just doing the Weedle ones. Nakamura rocks Jay with the right hand, but Jay takes him down with the kicks him. Jimmy tags back in for the double team on Nakamura. Jimmy uses the middle rope on Nakamura as the referee warns him. The referee stops Boogs from coming in, which leads to Jay decking Nakamura with a cheap shot. Jimmy works Nakamura over while talking trash. Nakamura gets up and fights back with strikes. Jimmy drops Nakamura with an enziguri for a close 2 count. Jimmy grounds Nakamura with a headlock. Nakamura reaches for a tag, but Jimmy stops him. He blocks a slam and stuns Jay with a kick to the face. Nakamura is down as Boogs rallies for a tag. Jay and Boogs tag in at the same time. Boogs unloads and then drops Jimmy as he charges in. Jay turns around and stuns Boogs, but then leaps into a bear hug in the middle of the ring. Boogs is one strong SOB, I tell you what. Boogs powers Jay up into a vertical suplex, and holds it. And I was thinking, we just had Supercard of Honor last night, and Bandito held Jonathan Gresham up for 60 long seconds in a vertical suplex like Rick Boogs was doing here. And I was thinking, are we really going to see that happen tonight? No, it didn't happen like that. Boogs dropped in after about 10 seconds or so. So there was that. Boogs and this was the scary spot. Boogs gets Jay up on his shoulders in a fireman's carry. Boogs is holding him up. Jimmy comes over, jumps on top. Boogs has both of them. This would have been a great WrestleMania moment if he was able to actually do like a Samoan drop with both of them on there. But unfortunately, just 2 seconds after, not even 2 seconds, after Jimmy jumps on top, Boogs' knee goes out. He drops down. He can't get back up. He's crawling over to tag into Shinsuke Nakamura. He falls to the floor, and you know it's a real legitimate injury when you see medical staff running around getting to and checking on Boogs. So it's a 2-on-1 handicap match from here. Nakamura fights both guys at ringside, ringside where Boogs is down, and you see all the medical staff is around him checking on him. Goes for the Kinshasa, he runs into a super kick instead. Jimmy tags in and goes to the top with a big Uso splash, but Nakamura kicks out. Jay tags in, Nakamura tries to fight them off. Jimmy super kicks Nakamura, they hit the 1D, and that is the pin and the win. The Usos retain. I never expected the Usos to lose the match. I don't think this was this could still be the finish they went for. I don't know. But It's a damn shame that Rick Boogs is injured. He is done for a while. He's going to need to have surgery. Does that mean that Nakamura, they could still have Rick Boogs come out and just sit he would have to stay, he would either have to be in a wheelchair or something while performing Nakamura. He could still perform. I mean, it's just a bad injury. Just have to be in a wheelchair or something. It sucks. He tore his quad. If anybody knows anything about a torn quad, it's freaking Triple H. So, yeah, it absolutely sucks that Boogs went down, and he's going to be out for a while. It sucks. It's also a possible torn patella tendon. This is bad. Tore both his quad and his patella tendon. He will require surgery. He has been... that sucks because dude has been getting over. Now, this is one of those things that they can't just, let him disappear and just, act like he doesn't exist for a while or have Nakamura off TV. You can still have Rick Boogs. Hell, they could have Rick Boogs just sitting with, have him set up when Nakamura is coming to the ring, down at ringside, playing his guitar, while Nakamura makes his way down to the ring. The dude's over. The dude is great. I can't wait to see him come back. Speedy recovery, but damn, SmackDown did not need to lose. Did not need to lose someone else. They already have Big E out, and now you have Rick Boogs out, and that really hurts the tag team division. A little bit of a tag team division they have because him and Nakamura were in the tag team division, and now I don't know what this says for Nakamura and what happens to Rick Boogs. It sucks. I don't know what else to say. Get well soon, Boogs. I hope everything works out and he gets better and we'll be back stronger than ever. After that match, the Usos stand tall. They exit the ring. Boogs is down. Nakamura checks on Boogs at the ringside. We see several trainers checking on his knee. The Usos back in the ramp as the end of the segment. We go back to the ring for Happy Corbin versus Drew McIntyre. First comes Corbin with Madcast. We see how Moss won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which will do absolutely nothing for nobody. Drew's out next with his sword. Angela, he hits the ring to pose as the fire shoots up in the ring post. Now, if you're Drew McIntyre, what do you think's going on through your head? This dude, in 2019, had Roman's first WrestleMania match since his leukemia and becoming in remission. 2020, he wins the Royal Rumble. Goes to WrestleMania to fight Brock Lesnar. Yes, there was no crowd, so he got screwed out of being in front of a crowd when he wins the World Championship. But still, was the WWE Champion and held that title for the majority of the pandemic time. Then last year, goes on to face Bobby Lashley again for the WWE Championship. And now, after having those three heavy hitters, he's wrestling Baron Corbin at WrestleMania. This is a match that should have been on SmackDown. Plain and simple. But we got it anyway. The only thing that really is a big deal in this match. Before this match tonight, from the time he started wrestling in NXT to tonight, nobody kicked out of the end of days. Nobody. McIntyre, Roman Reigns, Bobby Lashley, anybody they put up against Baron Corbin. If you hit the end of days, match is over, Baron Corbin wins. Well, tonight was the first time somebody kicked out of the end of days, and that person was Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre kicked out of the end of days, and I'm fine with it. Honestly, it's a big WrestleMania match. It's a moment that they can talk about that. Here's the thing. In order to make this moment mean something, Baron Corbin cannot have somebody kick out of the end of days again. Not for a while. It's been years. Baron Corbin's been on the main roster for how long? 4 years? Not one person has kicked out of the end of days until tonight. And there was a portion of this match where Baron Corbin was on top of Drew McIntyre. Madcap is on the outside. He jumps on the apron, just celebrating, like, dude, you're winning on a... Baron Corbin goes to use the ropes, and he's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Get the fuck down. Corbin, Bandcamp does. That allows Drew McIntyre to get back into the match, and basically McIntyre won not too long after this. And big one, Future Shock DDT. Hip up again, follows up with the Claymore for the pin in the win. After the match, McIntyre stands tall. We go to replays, Monsters on the apron now. Drew points the sword at him and approaches him. He slices the fucking ring ropes and cuts through the ropes. Some sort of explosion goes off. Drew stands tall to get another replay. McIntyre goes to ringside. Stands with his wife. Then he goes over and slaps hands with the announce table. Announcers celebrating more at ringside. So yeah. Drew McIntyre just wrecked the ring ropes. Obviously, they obviously knew this was going to happen. Because the next match we had was the Mysterios versus Logan Paul and The Miz. So that's where that went. So they used the video package to get the ring ropes fixed up. Good on them. I still don't know why you needed to have Drew McIntyre actually slice through the ropes. Maybe the top rope, but the top and the middle rope, come on. So we had the Mysterios versus Logan Paul and The Miz. And Logan fucking Paul is the dumbest motherfucker I have ever seen on television. This motherfucker walks to the ring with the most expensive Pokemon card in a card carrying thing, a card sleeve, connected to a necklace around his fucking neck. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't care how expensive this card is. That absolutely devalues it. This guy is a fucking moron. Why would you do something stupid like that? I hopefully that wasn't the actual thing and they actually made a duplicate copy, because why the fuck would you be that stupid, walk out with the most expensive card in collection history? This is also the same guy who spent $30,000 on a bunch of boxes of supposed Pokemon cards, and he got G.I. Joe cards instead. Yeah. Logan Paul is not the smartest guy out there. But I will say, the guy came out and the guy did pretty good. It wasn't, I still say Bad Bunny was great last year. This was pretty good too. He did a lot better than I think than anyone expected him to do. His brother Jake was on the pre-show and cut this big, huge heel promo. And it's like, if they really fucking wanted to, the Paul brothers could be guys who go into WWE and had runs, because Logan Paul is a former amateur wrestler. He is a state champion, if I'm correct, what I saw somewhere. So, like they say about it. So, yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me if you have the Paul brothers come out there and been wrestlers in the WWE. Do I want to see it? Not really. But it's not surprising that you see guys go out there and do what they do. So, yeah, the match was not bad. The match definitely, let's just, yeah. About that match. So, going into this match, it's like, obviously, the celebrity wins. The celebrity always wins. But it's just like, even Logan Paul hit a Three Amigos, and he hit a frog. He went up top and did a little shimmy shake, Eddie Guerrero would do. Not as expect. He hits a frog splash. It was not the best frog splash ever, but they say Dominic breaks up the pin, but if you actually watch it in slow-mo, Dominic was supposed to break up the pin, but Rey Mysterio kicks right before Dominic actually lands to break up the pin. So Dominic did not break up the pin. Dominic hits a big tope dive to Miz into the announce table. Dominic chases Paul back into the ring. While Miz is waiting, drops him in the ropes. Ryan and Dominic hit a double 619. Dominic with the frog splash to Paul. Then Ray hits the frog splash to Paul. Miz quickly tags himself in while the Mysterios didn't see it. Sends Dominic into Ray, drops Ray with the skull crusher finale. 1, 2, 3. Miz and Logan Paul pick up the win. In what was not a bad match at all. It was better than it had any fucking right to be. Just gonna say that right now. Then, after the match, I don't know what the hell this was about, but Miz is just standing there. He's got Logan Paul's arm raised, and then the camera turns in, zooms in, and you see the Miz gets this evil look on his face, and he looks over at Logan Paul, swivels to one side, hits the skull crushing finale on Logan Paul, to a thunderous cheer from the crowd, and Miz walks away, jumps into the fans, and it looks like the Miz is supposed to turn babyface off of this. I don't know. Which makes me wonder, we have WrestleMania Backlash coming up at the end of this month or the beginning of next month. Who's to say WWE doesn't have Logan Paul return to do a match at WrestleMania Backlash? Wouldn't surprise me. After what they just did tonight and they had Miz do the whole betrayal thing on Logan Paul, it would not surprise me at WrestleMania Backlash we're getting the Miz versus Logan Paul. Wouldn't surprise me at all. So, after breaking out comes Chief Brand Officer Stephanie McMahon to the stage. She says she just wanted to come out and take an opportunity to say thank you. She always blown away by the majesty of WrestleMania. The power of everyone coming together from different countries, different states, and different backgrounds to celebrate this one thing we love. She said, we say then, now, and forever for a reason. That's now it's her pleasure to introduce one of the next generation of WWE superstars. He brought home the Olympic gold medal from Tokyo and the recent NCAA Heavyweight Championship win. Here is Gable Steveson, who comes out to a nice applause. He waves the other side, raises his hand, and they head to the back, and that was that. If Gable Steveson doesn't come out being the delusional baby, try to be babyface like Kurt Angle did, then they're missing an opportunity. This guy's got to go out there and not even he's got to be the good old, I'm a good old babyface, you should cheer me, everyone else sucks, I'm an Olympic gold medalist, blah, 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 all that good shit. They don't do that, then I don't know what the fuck you're going to be doing, because that writes its fucking self. We'll see. That's Gable Stevenson's first time in front of the WWE audience since SummerSlam last year, when him and the Olympic gold medalist female wrestler, whoever, I can't remember her fucking name. I think she signed to WWE too, but she doesn't have his name recognition like Gable Steveson. What the hell was her goddamn name? Yeah, so he's going to probably be on Raw tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is, of course, not tomorrow night, but Monday night. Monday is the Raw after WrestleMania. A big fucking night in WWE. And they got a lot that they need to build towards going into WrestleMania Backlash. We get a video package for Young Rock, which, okay, whatever. We go to Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. This match has been brewing since SummerSlam last year. Now, I'm going to say this now. Match was fine. Match was good. Out of the two women's title matches, you're going to take this match over Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey, which was an absolute snorefest. But it's just, they spent from SummerSlam to Survivor Series burying Bianca Belair. Having Becky Lynch go out there, try to be the best heel she could be, and the fans rejecting her as a heel. Everyone wants to cheer Becky Lynch. And I just didn't care about the match. I wanted to like this match, but you spent months telling us that Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, is not on Becky Lynch's level. You told us for months that Becky Lynch is better than Bianca Belair. So I went into this, I watched it, it was a good match. Bianca Belair is your new Raw Women's Champion, and honestly, it could have went either way. It really could have, because this is just something you see in wrestling every single day, every single time. Becky Lynch went out there. She tried to cut Bianca's hair. Bianca got the scissors in her hand. She cut Becky's hair, and we go to WrestleMania like this. And it could have went to the fact that WWE, that's how you book it. It's like, oh, Becky got embarrassed, so we're going to go out there. We're going to have Becky win and shock everybody. That, of course, did not happen. Like, the biggest question now for Bianca Belair, what's next? We have WrestleMania Backlash coming up. Obviously, we're probably going to get Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch again for the millionth time because they don't have any other heels. I mean, if they want to do Nikki Trash with her almost a superhero gimmick against Bianca Belair, oh, I have a good idea. Let's do Piper Niven versus Bianca Belair for the bajillionth time. Everyone loves seeing Bianca Belair versus Piper Niven. Don't get me wrong, the matches are fine, but I don't want to see the same match over and over and over and over again. But the problem is they don't have anybody. Like, I want to go over the match, but it's like I didn't care for the match. The match was just it was there. It was a match. Becky Lynch came out in this SUV. I think it was an SUV. It was a fancy car that drove from one side of the WrestleMania side to the middle. Bianca Belair got the band, the college band of I think Texas, Southern Texas, STU, South Texas University, I believe it was, is what it said. It was STU, and they played a rendition of Bianca Belair's theme before she came to the ring under her own theme. So, I've seen better. I'm saying this now. I've seen better. But everyone like Bianca Belair came to the ring. They had themselves a pretty good match. Not going to sit there and take it away from the women and say they didn't have a good match. It was good. Did I really care about the match? No. There was nothing. It's like, if you didn't spend, it's this thing. If WWE didn't spend all of the fall last year pretty much saying Bianca Belair is not on Becky's level, she's never going to be on Becky's level, anybody who thinks she's going to be on Becky's level needs to get real. Actually, like, if Becky beats her in 26 seconds, and then Becky finds every way under the sun to make sure her and Bianca Belair do not wrestle for the last, I don't know, 6 months, 9 months, however long it's been since SummerSlam. They don't wrestle. The triple threat match between Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch didn't happen. It was just Becky versus Sasha, and Sasha won that championship. Becky could have went on to whatever, or if they still want to do the title switch, whatever. If you would have found ways, creative ways, to keep these two apart from SummerSlam to tonight, I would have been like, damn, this is going to be a match worth waiting for. They haven't touched each other. They haven't been in a match together since SummerSlam. Bianca's going to go out there. She's going to take this title back. The title, well, she never held this championship, but she's going to avenge that 26-second loss. But you spent so many months telling us basically that Becky Lynch is the be-all, end-all, and Bianca Belair is not on her level, and it killed any intrigue for the match. Was it bad? No, it was a good match. It was definitely, like I said, it was. If you want to compare the two matches, if you made me sit down and watch either one of the matches from tonight, and tell me, like, I would pick this match over Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey any fucking day of the week, because that match fucking sucked. Get to it when we do. And no, it was not the main event of the show. And if you were over what was the actual main event and thought that that match should have been the main event, you were out of your fucking mind. Bianca Belair wins. It was a good match. It's just I myself didn't really fucking care because of what they did for so long, burying Bianca and just continue to bury her and having the matches with Piper Niven over and over and over and over and over and over and over again just didn't get me excited. The obvious win for her in the Elimination Chamber didn't get me excited. And it's not Bianca's fault, it's not Becky's fault, it's Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard's fault because they don't know how to do things right. It hurt the match for me. So we move on from that to... let's just get this out of the way. Seth Rollins. For months, for weeks, they have been talking how Seth Rollins has no path to WrestleMania. There was a triple threat match between Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens versus the Alpha Academy versus RK Bro, where RK Bro won the tag team title back, and Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens were fucked out of WrestleMania. Eventually, Kevin Owens found his path to WrestleMania, having a Kevin Owens show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And for weeks, it was like, what are they going to do with Seth Rollins? What is going to happen to Seth Rollins? How is Seth Rollins going to get to WrestleMania? Obviously, the rumors coming out was that Seth Rollins was going to be facing Cody Rhodes. Well, originally, it was supposed to be Seth Rollins versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. Then Shane McMahon got greedy, went into business for himself, and got fucked over so far that Vince McMahon said, you know what, I have no choice but to send your ass home. Could you imagine if instead of what we got tonight, you had Seth Rollins versus Shane McMahon? Oh boy. And I'm just going to say it, I was so just low-key hoping we're going to have Seth Rollins go out there, they're going to go out here, and they're going to have him get challenged, or the person of Vince McMahon's choosing is going to be his son. And I would have sat here and just laughed and laughed and laughed. But Seth Rollins comes out with a choir. We go from a college band, marching band playing Bianca Belair's theme, to a choir singing or acapellaing Seth Rollins' theme. Which, okay, Seth Rollins eventually comes out in this ridiculous outfit because he's got all the drip in the world. He comes to the ring. He's sitting there. He's like, come on. Don't keep me waiting. Come on. Well, they milked this as long as they fucking could. All they could. They milked this for what seemed like for fucking ever. Then all of a sudden, the lights go down, and I'm thinking, oh, God, please be Cody and not The Undertaker. Please be Cody and not The Undertaker, because I didn't watch the Hall of Fame because I was too busy watching real professional wrestling and watching Supercard of Honor. But The Undertaker last night put his jacket on, and his hat on, and said, never say never. But also, you gotta remember that The Undertaker also was saying this on April Fool's Day. So, anybody who thought it was going to be Undertaker, you're an idiot. But the lights go down. You hear the pyro go off, and everything, and it's like the pyro should have been the indication of who the fuck it was going to be. So, all of a sudden, Kingdom starts playing. Wrestling has more than one royal family. Cody's music plays. The Nightmare Family logo is on our screen. It does a whole CGI thing. Cody gets his whole big entrance and everything. He comes to the ring. American Nightmare on the WrestleMania sign when, the logos and everything. So, in this moment, tonight, we didn't get smoke and mirrors dashing Cody Rhodes. We didn't get Stardust. We didn't get disfigured Cody Rhodes. We got AEW All Elite EVP Cody Rhodes walking through that forbidden door, shutting it closed, and stepping into a WrestleMania ring for the first time in 6 years. Is it a good thing? No, of course. There's nothing wrong with having Cody return and being... It's funny because after that happened, Pro Wrestling Tees put a tweet out saying what was on social and sent out emails and everything. Did Cody Rhodes show up at WrestleMania? Make sure to grab his gear before it disappears forever. So, yeah, if you want to get your stuff from Pro Wrestling Tees and you want to get stuff for Cody Rhodes before it disappears, you might want to get on that, like, right now. Cody does have gear, merch. It's just going to be in WWE, as you know. So he's coming out, the crowd's going crazy, everybody's happy, and I want to warn everybody. Enjoy this while you can. Because this was a great moment for them. This was a great moment for WWE to poach one of the founding fathers of All Elite Wrestling. But you know, as well as I do, it's not going to last. I already talked about how Bianca Belair, Charlotte, I think possibly Becky too, are the Rhea Ripley and a few others are the last remaining people to have their theme songs from NXT. How long do you think it's going to be before Cody Rhodes start using Kingdom anymore? How long are you going to think before Cody Rhodes has to drop the American Nightmare? He's not going to be able to cover that tattoo up. I'm sure that Vince McMahon wants him to get that tattoo removed, but that's not going to happen. How long do you think Vince McMahon is going to hold his tongue and not have Cody Rhodes doing what he thought, having Cody Rhodes booked as he feels Cody Rhodes should be booked? Enjoy it while you can, because you know that everybody who comes in will eventually do exactly what Vince McMahon wants them to do. So, they come out here, and I love Corey Graves for bringing this up. As Cody's still doing his entrance, or they're like rotating, whatever, he mentions that it's Dusty Rhodes' star pupil in Seth Rollins versus the son of Cody Rhodes. So I love the fact that the history of Cody Rhodes, of Seth Rollins, and what Dusty Rhodes meant to him was brought up for this match. So thank you to somebody actually bringing up the history of why Cody Rhodes coming back. Seth Rollins was the perfect person to battle Cody Rhodes in his first match back in 6 years. What I don't like is that Cody Rhodes has been off doing AEW, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact Wrestling, WCPW, GCW, all these other shows from 2016 to 2019. Doing all these independents, all these other things, going out there and building himself up to prove to WWE that you missed out on this guy and what he's going to be. What do they do on commentary? They pretend like this guy left WWE in 2016 and sat at home and did nothing for 6 fucking years. I fucking hate Vince McMahon's edict that if it's not in WWE, it doesn't fucking count. I fucking hate it. How are you going to sit there and pretend like Cody Rhodes, who left your asses because he got fucking sick and tired of your bullshit, has been gone from WWE, and you're going to pretend like this guy was doing nothing for 6 years? You had fucking Jimmy Smith say, "Oh, it's been 6 years since he took a hit like that." Give me a fucking break. Vince, you're not the only game in fucking town. Stop pretending like you are. No one fucking cares if you think that you are the only game. Stop pretending like Cody Rhodes or like AEW, hell, Finn Balor has been touted as a world champion or like a champion and a guy who went to Japan, and it's touted like WWE. When Finn Balor made his main roster call-up, would not shut up about all the stuff that Finn Balor did in Japan. When AJ Styles came to WWE, how much time did they talk about all the stuff he did in Japan? Yet Cody Rhodes comes back to WWE, and on night fucking 1, they want you to pretend like this guy has been sitting on his ass at home doing nothing for 6 fucking years. Are you out of your fucking mind? That pisses me off. I have not been a big Cody Rhodes fan for the last 7 or 8, 9, 10 months. Since all the garbage he's been pulling in AEW. And it's funny because all the WWE shills, all the WWE drones, the E-drones, all of them would sit there and curse Cody Rhodes' name because he went somewhere else and made a name for himself. But as soon as he comes back, they are all like, the prodigal son has returned. Oh my god, I love Cody Rhodes. When you were probably cursing his name for the last 6 years. Just, are you out of your fucking mind, guys? It's so fucking stupid. Cody Rhodes did have an interview with Vanity. And here's what he had to say. He told Vince, Bruce Pritchard, and Nick Khan, this very small circle of individuals, he told them that he truly believed he is the best wrestler in the world. And to go further with it, he actually don't think there's a close second. But with that said, the opportunity now exists to prove it. And that's what most excites him. On his wife Brandon parting ways earlier this year, Rhodes was fondling memories. He says it was time to move on. He was quiet about it. He's going to stick to being quiet about it. There's no shoot interview. There's no infamous nefarious tales that are going to be told. There were all these different theories, and none of them are correct. I mean, there were things about money and creative control. They were printed as fact, and that's been very difficult. 2 months to see that when in reality, it was just time. Cody, you can sit there and lie all you want. Tony Khan looked at you and was like thinking, one, you could not challenge for my World Heavyweight Championship because you wanted that fucking stupid ass stipulation. So your value, Cody Rhodes' value in AEW dropped the minute that match ended. The minute Cody Rhodes lost to Chris Jericho and could no longer challenge for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, his value in All Elite Wrestling went down the drain. So when it came for re-upping your contract, Cody Rhodes did not have the value of a Young Bucks, a Kenny Omega, or anyone else, because what is he supposed to do? Unless he was going to turn heel, which Cody Rhodes didn't want to do, which I hope he does know that if Vince McMahon wants him to turn heel, he's turning fucking heel, whether he wants to or not. He says, it was a personal matter and we couldn't move past it. He said, I have nothing but respect for Matt and Nick Jackson. Kenny Omega, I'm rooting for Tony Khan. His name is going to be in the history books as someone who helped with the bankroll and support his entire alternative revolution that AEW became. But for me, it was just time to move on. I got an opportunity at my dream. I get another chance at it. And you really can't leave no stone unturned. He is relatively unchanged since his AEW departure and then return to WWE. He got his music, his entrance for years, and he announced as the American Nightmare. To quote some of those individuals who courted him, for this moment, it's not broke. Cody Rhodes told Vanity, and this was a place that didn't care for me. And it wasn't that they didn't have love and respect for me, but as a wrestler, I wasn't considered their most desirable. If anything, I was kind of undesirable. He told Vanity that he will be serving an executive producer on an documentary about his father, the late Dusty Rhodes. He also revealed that Dan Lambert recently gave him the WWF Championship belt that his father, Super Billy Graham, once fought over in Madison Square Garden in 1977. So, yeah. Cody Rhodes is not going to sit there and tell you what happened. Of course not. There's no reason for him to go out there and tell you that. That was excerpts from his recent interview and why he came back to WWE. Basically, Cody Rhodes was told by Tony Khan, dude, we can't pay you that much money because you're not worth that value. This wasn't. So, you had yourself a match that pitted Cody Rhodes, the son of a plumber, who... It's kind of funny that Cody Rhodes is coming back to WWE now. His theme song, Kingdom, is taking shots at WWE. It's kind of funny that he's coming back using that song. The fact that, obviously, Vince McMahon did not want to do all this. Vince McMahon got Cody Rhodes back. He wanted Cody Rhodes to be the one in his fucking image. And somebody, I don't know who, but somebody got it through Vince McMahon's head that if you ever want to get a chance at a Wardlow, at a Jade Cargill, at an MJF, at anybody else on AEW's roster right now who are very desirable, like an Ethan Page, you're going to have to give Cody everything that he wants. If he wants to come out the Kingdom, you better have him come out the Kingdom. If he wants to be the American Nightmare, you better well as make him the American Nightmare. If you don't, in 2024 or whenever these these talents contracts come up, they'll look at what you did with Cody in the next 6 months, and that will be the telling signs of if these people want to even think about giving you another chance, a shot. Now, before we get into the match here, also, like, people are wondering, well, Cody's now here, who's next to jump ship? Chris Jericho is an obvious one. Well, Chris Jericho feels like his time in AEW, everything he can do in AEW is up. Obviously, he'll go back to WWE. He'll have one final run doing whatever, or he'll just come back, have one match at WrestleMania, and then go into the Hall of Fame. So, I don't, like, Chris Jericho is definitely somebody who will eventually venture back to WWE, whether it's as Chris Jericho right now, or as just a match, maybe a match at WrestleMania, or an induction into the Hall of Fame. Jon Moxley, when his career is done and over with, that's going to be at least another 10 plus years probably. Bryan Danielson, Matt and Jeff Hardy, when their careers are absolutely over and they finally make their final farewell in the wrestling business, they will both go into the Hall of Fame together. But everybody who wants to see Cody Rhodes succeed, enjoy what you have for now, because I'm telling you right now, it's not going to last. And you all should know this. Now, Cody gets in the ring. Immediately, Cody Rhodes is making himself to the ring, and Saxton immediately says he's been away for 6 years, and now he's back. No, like, oh, he's been honing his craft other places. They wanted to tell you from the start that Cody Rhodes has been away for 6 years, and he's not done a goddamn thing. Obviously, they're not going to mention the AEW because Vince McMahon is a coward. That's all I'm going to say, is that Vince McMahon is a fucking coward. That he won't sit there and actually acknowledge what Cody Rhodes did to get to where he is now and be the guy that he wants to be. But Rollins, of course, is happy. He's like laughing. Bell rings. Cody and Seth stare each other down. Spanish chant Cody. They lock up and immediately break. Rollins laughs as they get a feel for each other. Rhodes backs off and plays to the crowd for a pop. They lock up again and Cody applies a headlock. They run the ropes and Cody nails an arm drag, then does the cartwheel. And he actually did the Stardust like cartwheel and then the symbol. So letting you know that he hasn't forgot about Stardust. And I know there are people out there who want to see Stardust. Maybe someday. They lock up again, and Rollins drops Cody with the shoulder. Rollins is in all smiles as they go for the trade counters. Rhodes then does the drop down right hand for another pop. Fans chant Cody some more. Rollins approaches and says it's good to have Cody back and see him, but as he's saying that, he comes up and just boom, cheap shot right to the face. Rocks Cody. Holy shit, that looked like he just laid it in there. They go at it, and Cody blocks the pedigree. Rollins blocks the crossroads. Rollins goes for the stomp. They trade several suplex counters. Rhodes suplexes Rollins over on the top rope, but they both tumble to the floor and land hard. Can we not do this spot? God, that looked like that fucking hurts. Cody keeps control of the referee count, shaking Rollins in the ring post by his arm. They bring it back into the ring. Cody works Rollins over in the corner. Focusing on his hurt arm as the referee counts. Cody takes Rollins down by his arm and grounds him while talking some trash in his face. Cody with a short arm scissor to the arm on the mat. They get back up and tangle some more. Cody with a kick to the gut while holding Rollins up by his legs. Rollins rocks Cody with an enziguri, but Cody comes back and yanks Rollins down shoulder first into the mat by his arms. Cody goes to the top and fires with the crossbody. Rollins kicks him in midair. Cody yells his rim injury. Rollins keeps control and says, "Welcome back to the big leagues, bitch!" There you go. While working Cody over, Rollins sends Cody into the turnbuckle, then applies a bear hug to focus on the lower back. Cody fights out and decks Rollins' hurt arm. Rollins with a big back elbow and a chop to the chest. They run the ropes and Cody nails a forearm. Rollins charges, but Cody leaps over him in the corner, then catches him in a snap power slam. Cody clotheslines Rollins over the top rope to the floor. Cody is alone in the ring. As fans cheer him on, he runs and nails a suicide dive, sending Rollins over the announce table. Getting a little bit further in the game, Rollins blocks Cody's pedigree attempt. They trade some more counters and pin attempts. Cody looks for a pedigree, but he's nailed a powerbomb instead. Fans rally from Cody. He nails a springboard Cody cutter, but Rollins kicks out just in time. Cody can't believe it. Rollins hits the pedigree, but Cody kicks out. Rollins is shocked. He can't believe that the match is still going on. They continue brawling in the middle of the ring. Cody unloads a right and then kicks the knock down. Right hand, but he actually gives a kick to the head instead. Rollins grabs Cody's head, yells at it. This is being his company and his industry. He goes with a big kick and a roaring elbow to the back of the head. Cody is stunned. Rollins drops him with the forearm to the back of the head. Cody nails the crossroads out of nowhere. He holds on to Rollins, hits a second straight one, brings him up to the middle of the ring. I thought immediately he's going to flip him, turn him around, hit the pedigree, and that was going to be it. But no, he goes up, starts doing the Dusty Rhodes punches, and then gets the bionic elbow, hits him with another crossroads. 1, 2, 3. Cody picks up the win. This was match of the night by far. The women's match was fine. It was a good match too. The Raw Women's Championship match, the SmackDown Women's Championship match was an absolute snorefest. We'll get to that in a minute. This was by far, in a way, the best thing on the show. I mean, yeah, everyone's going to say that Stone Cold's segment later on was probably the best thing on the show, but that's just people who want to talk about nostalgia. This was... It was what it was. It is how WWE has an opportunity to actually show everybody that they can let people go out and become names for them, make names for themselves, and then come back and be big stars. If you fuck Cody Rhodes up, then it's just everyone's gonna sit there and they're gonna everyone's gonna call him out, call WWE out if they fuck Cody Rhodes up. I don't really give shit. I don't give two shits either way. I want to just see how this goes and how long it will take before we're all going, yep, WWE just will not change. But on this night, Cody Rhodes being back, having this match, it was by far the best thing on the show. Bar none. Somebody put out a post on social media. It was like, it's 2022. Cody Rhodes is in WWE and Samoa Joe's in Ring of Honor, and it was like just the picture like someone like mine was being blown. Yeah. What a year 2020. 2022 was going to be one of the craziest fucking years in professional wrestling. With Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor, Samoa Joe returning to Ring of Honor, Cody Rhodes coming back to WWE. And we're only in April. What the fuck else is going to happen in 2022? I don't fucking know. But I am going to try my best to be here for the entirety of this crazy ride we know as 2020. After the match, music hits. Cody stands tall as his arm is raised. The crowd pops big as Cody takes it all in. Rhodes pauses in the middle of the ring. His arms open as we go to replays. Yeah, it's funny because Cody Rhodes spent the last 6 months of his AEW run trying everything in the fucking book to get cheered by the fans, only to get continuously booed. Comes back here, and the only thing he needed to do was leave All Elite Wrestling, take his wife with him, and then come back to WWE. Because tonight, they cheered this guy from start to finish. There wasn't a person in Texas booing this man. So, yeah, Cody went back to WWE, and the fans in WWE love him again. So, yeah, that is that on that. See highlights from the 22 induction ceremony. Brought out the stage, the Steiner brothers, Vader's family, Shad Gaspard's family, Queen Shamel, The Undertaker comes out, the lights go out, the music plays, he shows up, the crowd then turns, marches to one side, marches to the other, does just waves to everybody, and then starts heading to the back, pauses for a second. I thought he was going to do the whole raise the arm thing and then walk to the back, but he doesn't, so There is that. I hope we don't see this guy wrestle ever again. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest. I hope this is the last night we ever hear bell toll for the Undertaker. I did see the they did pop me when he did, like, he was doing his Hall of Fame speech and he started to mention Kane. He's like, oh no, he actually wants me to call him Mr. Mayor now. I got a laugh out of that. SmackDown Women's Title match, show about 9,000 versus Ronda Rousey. This match fucking sucked. We just had Cody versus Seth Rollins. We just had the Hall of Fame induction. Everybody was just like going crazy and everything. These two took Texas and put them to fucking sleep. Or everybody was holding in their like energy, or like reserving their energy for Stone Cold Steve Austin. Either way, the crowd died in Texas at this time. Nobody gave two fucks about this match. Nobody. I tried to not fall asleep. I went to the bathroom, came back, and this match was still going on. I'm like, give me a fucking break. How did the match end? Rousey drops Flair with an armbar while the referee is knocked out because Sharbot goes for the figure four. Rousey kicks out, sending her into the referee. Which, by the way, the referee was a little Nate, Charles Robinson. So you know some kind of fuckery was going to happen. Rousey breaks up hold, frantically goes to wake up the referee. Flair, turns advantage, rushes, delivering a big boot to the head to knock Rousey back down. Covers her, 1, 2, 3. And she won. And obviously they must have been rushing for time because this shit just happened like quick. Like, you know, Vince, you don't want to run out of time. Stop making your video packages so fucking long. It's not that fucking hard. Why am I watching a video package that I saw on the fucking pre-show that's taking 20 fucking plus minutes long? Give me a fucking break. Maybe you wouldn't have to cut a match. Maybe your show wouldn't go long if you didn't have video packages that took up over half the fucking show. Just saying. So, what was supposed to be next was the New Day vs. Sheamus and Rich Holland. They cut that. Obviously, that match is going to happen on Friday. It's not going to happen tomorrow. We get plugs for WrestleMania 39, which will be in Hollywood next year. And we didn't have to wait. It was announced April 1st and April 2nd, 2022, SoFi Stadium will be WrestleMania. WrestleMania goes Hollywood. And that will be the night that, if everything goes right, we get The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, or whatever title they're using at that time. We go to the Kevin Owens show, and I'm just going to get right to it. I don't give a shit about the whole Kevin Owens show. Stone Cold says some things, insults him. Kevin Owens says things, insults Texas. Kevin Owens eventually challenges Stone Cold Steve Austin to a no-holds-barred match, which he pretty much wanted to try and say that Stone Cold Steve Austin was scared. And so here, we eventually do get the match. Stone Cold says, if you want to see me kick this guy's ass or be in a match against him, give me a hell yeah. Fans do. He wants a referee, which I think Stone Cold kind of fumbled his words for a minute. He was trying to say, get me a damn... And he just like, ref. I don't know what the fuck happened there. So referee comes down. They ring the bell. Stone Cold walks up to Kevin Owens. Stone Cold starts saying something. They go back and forth. They're brawling with each other. We have ourselves an actual fucking match. And this match went 13 fucking minutes. Stone Cold Steve Austin was in a match at WrestleMania in his home state. I don't know if it's his hometown, but Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kevin Owens, they fought. Stone Cold Steve Austin also drank a lot. Well, drank because he squeezes his cans during this match. Every time he would do something to fucking Kevin Owens, he'd go get a Steve Weiser. His own IPA. It's the Broken Skull American Lager. But he would go get an IPA, beat up Kevin Owens some more, go get another IPA, beat up Kevin Owens some more, get another IPA, beat up Kevin Owens some more. It's just like, oh my god, this guy's just going out there. And I'll give it to Steve. He didn't just go out there and half-ass it. This motherfucker went out there and took some bumps. And the scariest bump, of course, was the suplex on the fucking concrete. Stone Cold Steve Austin took a suplex in 2022 on concrete, and it was not easy. So like Kevin Owens had to fight to get him up for that, but it looked fucking like very brutal. Stone Cold Steve Austin also made his entrance on his what do you call it? His ATV. His Stone Cold Steve Austin ATV. I was like, how the fuck is Stone Cold gonna get down this long ass ramp? There's no fucking way he's walking. Nope, he got the ATV. So he came down and all that stuff. They had themselves a match. Stone Cold and him beat the shit out of each other. Like so Kevin Owens went to take the ATV for whatever fucking reason. I don't know what the hell he was thinking here. Stone Cold fights him up. He grabs the ATV. He starts taking Kevin Owens with he drives him up the ramp up to the WrestleMania side. They're fighting still, and then Stone Cold doesn't just suplex him once. He goes to the where the W and R is at in WrestleMania. Look, points up, hits a suplex. Takes Kevin Owens to the other side where the I and A is at. Points up again, hits another suplex. Throws Kevin Owens down the ramp. And they said he wasn't breathing that hard, which for the most part he wasn't. But when he got down to the ring, you could see that he was definitely like starting to gas a bit. What do you expect when someone hasn't had a fucking actual match in 19 fucking years? But they get back into the ring. Stone Cold, I know there's DraftKings and these other places that were doing who's going to hit a stunner first. And the odds maker was Stone Cold Steve Austin was going to stunner Kevin Owens first. I hope nobody put money on that, because Stone Cold Steve Austin was the first one to actually take a stunner. He ate a Kevin Owens stunner. Kevin Owens only got a 2. Kevin Owens went out. He was frustrated. He's like, I'm going to get a chair. I'm going to fuck this guy up. As Stone Cold's getting himself back up, Kevin gets the chair. Goes to swing. Stone Cold gets out of the way. Kevin Owens takes the chair. It bounces off the ropes. Hits him in the back, in the head. Stone Cold stunner. 1, 2, 3. Stone Cold Steve Austin wins his first match back in over 19 fucking years. And I hope this is it for him, because if this is him wanting to go out on his own terms, there you go. You got to have a match in Texas, in Dallas. Where he said he started his career was the first place he had his first wrestling match was in this state. In Dallas, Texas. This is the perfect way to end. And Stone Cold Steve Austin got his beers. He was doing all that stuff, Stone Cold, then Stone Cold's celebrating with the beers. I see 2 guys in black cowboy hats walking down. I'm like, oh shit, the Texas Rangers are here. So they start Stone Cold drinking his beer. Kevin Owens gets back out one more time. He eats a stunner. Kevin Owens kicks him out of the ring. The 2 Texas Rangers, I think it's Texas Rangers, they had 2 cowboy hats on. I don't know if people in Texas do that. But they grab him and they drag his carcass out of the ring. Stone Cold actually welcomes Byron Saxton in. But Corey Graves knew what the fuck was going to happen. He's enjoying this. Stone Cold shares a beer with Byron Saxton and hits him with a stunner as Corey Graves is elated on commentary. Stone Cold gets the mic, says it's great to be back in Texas, and that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so, and the show goes off the air with Stone Cold celebrating in the heart of Dallas, Texas. The show is over. This was actually not a bad show. Supercard of Honor was still my favorite show of the weekend, by bar none. But honestly, from what I see from night 1 and night 2, this is going to be the stronger show. Yes, we have AJ Styles and Edge and Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. What the fuck else do you have? I mean, the triple threat tag team match for the Raw tag team titles, that should be a lot of fun. But who gives a shit about Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn? Who gives a shit about the women's tag team title match? There's nothing else on this show besides the 2 matches, the 2 big draws on Sunday night that's going to make me care about Sunday night. if you're going to do 2-night WrestleManias from now on, because let's face it, it's more money in their pocket, and from Nick Khan and Vince McMahon want to make as much money as possible. I just don't see. I don't care if I don't like. Tomorrow is gonna be one of those things, and it's like if I could skip tomorrow, I would, but I can't. That is your WrestleMania Night 1 review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds at the France Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The France Club. And find me on Instagram at The France Club. And see you guys tomorrow for WrestleMania Night 2. Until then, my name is France, and I'll see you guys later.